Welcome back to the Film School Dropout. My name is Jordan and I'm your host, and I'm so happy to have you back tapping into the Dropout. Today we're going to be talking about the Oscars, but not necessarily, who won what, but what it means to win an Oscar and what validation means for us. There's so many of us out here that are building careers and putting in the work to become the person that we want to become. And a lot of times, awards and accolades are on the forefront of our minds when we're pursuing those goals. And doing that is, there's no problem with that. There's no problem with wanting recognition or wanting to be appreciated by an industry that you put a lot of time and effort into. But I just encourage us to come along for a little chat, because I've been thinking about this a lot. There's a lot of discourse online about sinners and about one battle after another and the industry. And I just have some thoughts that I want to share with the chat and start a dialogue. So I think it's amazing that Michael B. Jordan won Best Actor. And I think he 100% deserved to win Best Actor. What I also think about is what if he didn't, because there are many instances, for example, with something like Best Director, where Ryan Coogler didn't win despite winning many other major categories at the Oscars. I saw both Sinners and One Battle After Another, and I think they're both really great films. With One Battle After Another, there are things that I don't love about the film. I think that you can definitely tell that the black women characters were not necessarily written by black women. But at the end of the day, PTA is a white man. So I can't expect them not to be written from that point of view. So that's just a personal qualm that I have with the movie. But other than that, I do think there are a lot of amazing things about that movie. I'm not necessarily mad it took home Best Picture, or Best Director, but it's just interesting. And so when I think about Ryan Coogler and I think about how like amazing he is and how many groundbreaking films he's been able to direct and provide for the black community and just the entertainment community at large, I get really inspired and almost emotional, like when you see people who have come from, again, an untraditional path. Like, yes, he went to film school, but he was an athlete and he's so like Bay Area down. I get really inspired by somebody who is really living in their authentic truth and being able to bring that to the screen in an industry that doesn't love when people do that. I think that is remarkable and extremely inspiring. So when I see someone like that coming to the Oscars, it's challenging for me because I don't want to be that person I'm happy with whatever we get, because this industry has never fully, celebrated black stories in the same way as they do non-black stories. Some of me does feel that way, but at the same time, it is really powerful for him to be recognized for Best Original Screenplay and for his composer to win that award, somebody that he met back in film school, and continue that relationship. And even the fact that him and Michael have worked on so many films together, I think is, just really profound and something that is extremely worth being celebrated. But I guess what my interest is in exploring is like, what do the Oscars really mean? And as an institution, why do we assign so much value to it? And those answers are somewhat obvious, right? It's been around for decades. It's an industry standard. It's a place where artists come to celebrate each other. All of those things are true. But, for In the same vein, there are the BET Awards, the NAACP Awards. There's Latin celebrations for movies, and there's many other award ceremonies that celebrate film. And I think what what I think is the most interesting is just I don't want to say why do we care so much, because that, like, why we care is clear. If when you get those recognitions, when you get that recognition, it means something. It means that you have been highlighted by the industry, that your work has been validated. And yes, I would like to win an Oscar one day. I'd like to win an Academy Award. But I guess I'm just like sitting with myself like, but what does it mean? Does the fact he won those awards change how impactful he already has been to our communities? Basically, I think the question comes down to this. Do awards change the impact that you have on people engaging with your content? Does recognition change how people connect with your storytelling? And that is what I think is what I'm questioning, especially in an era where we're kind of seeing the death of celebrity in real time because of the way social media has changed the landscape of how we engage with pop culture. And it just makes me question, what is the value of these awards? And that question exists because Hollywood and the industry is changing so drastically. It really it it's already had been changing with the advent of social media, but the strikes really catapulted it to a new level that it hasn't, quote unquote, came back from. And it's ultimately at an inflection point. So I guess my question is, how much will the Oscars and the Academy Awards continue to matter so much? Especially when nowadays many people are getting their starts on YouTube. They're building audiences before studios find interest in them. And that just changes the whole dynamic. If creators and directors are pushed to build their audiences outside of the studio system and distribution patterns change, that changes everything. Even the directors of Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is like an iconic movie, they were only able, or not only able, but they eventually got the opportunity to direct that movie because of the content they were putting out on YouTube. And super famously, Issa Rae with Awkward Black Girl also started with putting her content out on YouTube. There's one of my best friend's sister started this show called The Comic Shop on YouTube that has like over 20,000 subscribers, and she just started it this year. Are the awards more important, or is the community that's built around your storytelling more important? And I feel like I can only ask that because, like, the way that Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler show up so authentically for our community is so impactful. To me, part of me is F the award. Like, I don't care if it wins or not. Like, it was a iconic ass movie, and that's that. However, though, it does feel a little bit dismissive for me to say that, but I just think it's nuanced, because I saw a lot of chatter online about people being upset, that the movie didn't take home like all 16 nominations. And for me, I'm just like, well, that was never going to happen. Not because the film didn't deserve it, but because it's the industry. And the industry is not always kind to people of color. I think out of all of the Best Director awards, I think it's like less than 7 have been a person of color. Never a black person. But yeah, it's like, why are we going to the institutions for validation whenever we see how powerful our communities are? Yeah, but I don't want it to come off like I'm saying that it doesn't matter at all, because I think the fact that they did win is amazing and profound and should be celebrated. But I just think it's something to investigate for yourself. Like, why do I want this award, or why do I want this accolade? It's just about investigating the why, because some of those reasons can be very valid. Like, winning an Oscar propels your career forward, period. Winning an Oscar can secure funding for future projects. It provides credibility, and for creators of color that is super important. But it's just something to consider. Something to consider, some food for thought. Might be a little bit of a hot topic, so please let me know what you think. But again, I'm really proud of all of the work that Ryan and Michael have been able to do, and I'm so excited to see what they continue to create. I think Sinners being like this multi-genre blend was just really inspiring and impressive, and those are the type of movies that I'm excited to continue seeing. And there's a few other things to say about that with the Oscars. And I guess to the point of, are the awards more important, or is it the impact that you make on your watcher and on your viewer more important? And that being my question of this episode, I think about this movie called Black News by Khalil Joseph. He's a music video director that is now like directing features, and I saw this movie a couple months ago, and it just blew my mind. And it premiered at Sundance. It almost got kicked out because of like some editing thing, but it premiered at Sundance last year, and now it's like out with Rich Spirit Films for distribution. Excuse me. And that movie is so dynamic and so black and so cool. Like, it is a mind-bending, world-expanding movie. And I would be surprised if it ever won an Oscar. That's not me saying I think the movie is bad. Like I said, I think it's amazing. But is that going to be recognized by the Academy? You know, the story follows, like W.E.B. Du Bois through a like multi-generational time shifting reality and like black history and all these things. And yeah, I would be surprised if the Academy gave that amazing film an award. I think my point is that the stories that we make are more important than the validation that they may or may not receive. And that's something that I want everyone to kind of like hold close to their chest. Like, the fact that Sinners didn't take all 16 awards home does not diminish the impact of that movie and how amazing it was. At the same time, it is great that the awards that were won. They're well deserved. But I just hope that the other departments and the other actors in that film know that they did an amazing job with or without the award. But I know that's a lofty thing to say because people put so much work and time into their craft, and it is nice to be validated. It really is. But it's just something like, it's just some food for thought that I've been thinking about when it comes to this award season, and questioning the deeper reason around why someone might want to go into storytelling, or someone wants to become, the CMO at their company. And again, like, for reasons like getting credibility, people knowing that, people respecting you, getting increased opportunities, those reasons are very clear as to why awards and recognition matters. But I guess after that layer, my assertion is that it shouldn't. It's about the impact that your stories can make on the people that are viewing them. And that's just my take. That's something that I thought about with the Grammys. Oh my gosh, not the Grammys, the Oscars. Another thing in the vein of film school dropouts, I think it, like for example, PTA, the director of One Battle After Another, is a film school dropout. He went to film school for 2 days and left. And I think, but he still ended up at the Oscars. So I think it just goes to say that, like, the accolades and the traditional stamps of approval are not, they just shouldn't be like the center of gravity for your work and for your effort. And this goes for people in film, this goes for people at work, this goes for anything. Like, as long as you're getting credit where credit is due, which does sometimes look like awards, I don't think it should be like the North Star. And it's an interesting take. I know not everyone will agree with it, but even someone like Martin Scorsese had been making iconic culture shifting movies for years before he actually got awarded an Oscar. Even Angela Bassett, like when she didn't get that award for What's Love Got to Do with It, it was effed up. But however, like, that movie is still goated. Her performance is goated. She is goated. So it's, what value does that award have whenever her viewers and her supporters know what it was? It's, if you know, you know. But I don't know. Maybe this take is trash, but I just feel like we can't always look to the systems that have been designed to not support us and keep begging them, not begging, that's the wrong word, but keep desiring validation from them. And that's my take. But in the same vein, I'm kind of a hypocrite because, like I said, I would love to have an Oscar one day. And I don't know, hopefully the Academy doesn't listen to this episode at any point in time. But yeah, that's my take on that. I also think it's interesting the type of recognition that the two Academy Award winners for Best Supporting with Halle Berry and Tiana Taylor were similar character archetypes that had a very kind of sexual undertone or overtone to their roles. Again, I think both of these women are extremely talented, but it doesn't go unnoticed to me when our work is recognized and celebrated, and when it is upholding archetypes that are beneficial for white supremacy or that are beneficial for the entertainment industry at large when it comes to keeping the view of certain demographics in a box. That's not discounting either performances from those women, because again, they are amazing, but that the Oscars are always super intentional, and it's so political the way that awards are decided, and there's campaigns for these things, and there's so many layers that go into it, which is why it's just why you can't put too much stake in it. It's that question of trying to change the system from the inside versus going and building your own. And it's a challenging question to ask yourself, because even me, am I going to be more excited if I won an NAACP award or if I won an Oscar? Like, if I'm walking the walk of all of this whole episode, I would say the NAACP award, because that's something that's built by us for my community, and that marks that impact. But yeah, I do want to go to the Oscars and get one. So it's just an interesting space, especially as the industry is changing so much. I think it's gonna be compelling to see where is the value placed in the future, And the value is always placed at the box office and in the number counts of viewership, because that's how entertainment makes money, is through audience and through advertising. So that's where the value is. And but that's changing. Like, more people watch a Drewski video online than, I don't know, some network TV on ABC. So where's the value? You know, where's the community at? And that's the most important thing. So I feel like this take was kind of shaky, but I'm still curious to see, what y'all think about it. And this is my hot take from the Film School Dropout. So thanks for listening. Let's have a little discourse about it. And I'm curious, where where are you guys placing kind of your North Star for your career? What is your goalpost, if you have one? Because I think what I'm saying here is that the goalpost should be guided by something that's internal and not external. Because at the end of the day, we only have control over our internal. The external validation and these other things are always going to be flimsy. So when it comes to defining success for yourself or positioning yourself to build the life that you want, I just think it's important to really investigate what some of those things mean to you. What does a Grammy for musicians mean for that person? What does an Oscar mean for a director or an actor? There's even this video of Mike Tyson going on and on about how all of his trophies and awards don't matter. And Mike Tyson is a nut, but I think there's something to that. There's something to that, because at the end of the day, you get one Oscar, then you want two, then you want three, then you want four, or you just want, I don't know, you just want more and more and more. But what does it all mean? What does it all mean? You know, there's movies that have won Oscars that have no cultural relevance. So yeah, all in all, what I'm saying is, whether Sinners took home the Oscars or not, the impact and success of the film is all the same. And I think that's important for us to know when it comes to building out our craft, building out our careers, to know what that internal goalpost is when it comes to defining success for yourself. And if it is the Oscar, then that's fine. I guess I'm just saying, for me, I'm not sure if that is the case. But over time, we'll keep defining that together. And I'm thinking out loud while processing. What is my goalpost? What is it that I want to be known for, or to have in my trophy closet? What is that, And it's an important question. It's a big question. And I'm not saying that, an Oscar doesn't mean anything, but maybe there's things that mean more. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Looking forward to the rest of this season of the Film School Dropout. We're going to have some exciting guests and really interesting conversation about defining those career goals and the balance between validation that comes externally and the internal validation we can provide ourselves whenever we know that we've built something that we're proud of. So thanks for tapping in again. See you next week. Bye, guys.